Hello, everybody, and welcome to Google Plus Business Spotlight. This is a weekly show that gives everybody an insight into how different businesses use Google Plus. So today we have a really interesting spin on today's show because we are going to talk to a company that uses Google Plus. It's a company that actually is they provide a brand management tool for companies using Google Plus. So sort of a product of your product type thing. And we're going to be talking to Ben Fisher of Steady Demand in just a second as our featured guest. A couple little housekeeping things first. If you're watching on the event page, please leave comments. This is a quick little spotlight, so what we're going to try and do is really just let Ben take the floor and really show off what he and Steady Demand are doing. We're happy to come back and answer any of your questions and talk further. Anything that you guys can do to help promote the show would be awesome, and including that, we want to add a special thank you to our sponsor for today. So psyched to have a sponsor, second show in. This is really awesome. Certified Hosting. Want to give them a big shout out and a big thank you. So Certified Hosting, thanks again for stepping in and helping make this an even better show. We're going to have a coupon code we'll put in the event comments towards the end of the show. This way it doesn't get lost in the comment stream, and I'm sure you guys will really enjoy checking them out. One real quick thing, sort of a little thing about Certified Hosting, which I should probably read so you guys know who they are. Certified Hosting was established in 1999 as a Southern California-based unlimited web hosting company to provide shared hosting, reseller hosting, and manage dedicated servers to Fortune 500 companies, small businesses, individuals throughout the world. They recognize that each client has unique goals, so Certified Hosting tailors their services and their hosting packages to meet those specific needs, which I think actually is a fantastic thing because I do a little hosting myself, and it's always nice to get exactly what you want. So thanks again, guys. And now with that, let's turn it over to Ben again. Thank you so much for coming, for wanting to be a part of the show. I really appreciate it. And tell us a little about yourself and Steady Demand.
Right on. Thanks. Hi, everybody. How you doing today? Welcome. Thanks, Stefan, for having me on your show. I think it's an awesome idea, and I love the fact that you're helping out small businesses. So basically, Steady Demand, we produce tools that help brand managers, personal brands, as well as, of course, business brands, more effectively manage their Google Plus presence, as well as how to really analyze more about the effect of what you're doing on Google Plus and how that affects your business on a day-to-day basis. And beyond that, actually, we started out as a consulting company. We started helping out small brands, as well as from small brands up to public companies, and help them manage their brand profiles. A lot of marketing managers just simply don't have the time to put into Google Plus. They don't have the time to learn Google Plus. They don't have time to write content. And they really had a hard time figuring out, well, how can I get a return on investment out of this? What's the best way for me to get the bang out of my buck? And so we helped start to outsource. They started outsourcing basically, to a company like Steady Demand. And when it came to the tools, the first thing that we saw was like when we launched the brand audit tool. We launched the brand audit tool a couple months ago because we saw that a lot of businesses were having real problems connecting things up properly to their websites. And as we all know, the social signals are not going to flow if things aren't connected properly to your brand page. So we said, okay, well, let's put a free tool out there. I mean, we can go ahead, we can build this thing. We can see if the rel equals publisher is intact. We can make sure that the YouTube connection is properly there. And if it's not, let's educate. And so it's a free tool, and allows people to just pop in their brand page URL and it spits back, gives you a whole bunch of check marks, tells you, hey, you're doing great on this, or beep, fail. You get a big X, and then we tell you how to fix it. From there, we also ended up building out our post grade section as well. We took the last 10 posts and said, well, here's the proper way to really make a post, at least a couple different ways. Having at least 50 characters of text, maybe plus mentioning. That's not actually required to pass the grade. and also, at least having hashtags. Those are the basics of a good post. And so with that, we also internally, we built a tool to help our clients and our team, because we have a team of consultants that are on our that work with us. So we wanted to be able to really see what was happening on the brand pages, and more importantly, when we put a post out there, what kind of an effect did that have? And then we can go back and cross back and check with Google Analytics to see actually, was the intent of what we were trying to do, was that actually successful or not? And if it wasn't, we can learn from that, and then we can figure out, okay, this is a better way to do it. Maybe here's a better time of day. Maybe here's a better type of post that's actually really working for them, driving sales, email signups, etc.
I love that. And it's funny, you and I we've hit on this in a couple of different times, talking about intent. And it's great that there are some amazing tutorials and suggestions and best practices out there to get more engagement on your Google Plus post. And for pages, it's definitely a lot harder to do, because you don't have this pretty face to look at in a profile. So typically a logo, or people don't tend. I mean, I guess the mantra out there is that people tend to gravitate more towards profiles than they would to pages. But pages are obviously really important, and so to have a tool that will say, all right, if we're going to put out a post to say, let's come check out our latest article on our blog, well, what's the best way to do that? And everybody has a different version of best, but for a page it could be different. For a page in a certain industry, it could be different. And this is Waves. So your tool sounds like it allows for us to take a look to try different types of things. And as long as we're tracking on our end what kind of post. Like, so we had a call to action in our post with a photo in it to go join our email list. Did that work? Maybe the photo post to go and check out our latest blog post was a better idea. All those different kinds of things. And it sounds like having an extra layer of granularity, I think, is that the word? To check to follow this stuff. I think that's super, super important. I've got to imagine that you have some. Oh, and real quick, for those of you who are in the watching on the event, wanted to let you know that if you scroll back a little in the comments, I posted a screenshot from the tool of Steady Demand's post engagement by type. So it's kind of what we're talking about right now. You have their photo posts tend to have. You know what? Let me just scroll back to it, because it has. It was kind of neat. Well, we can find it instead of going through the whole screen share thing. But essentially, it shows that there's, it gives you your normal stats, +1 shares, comments, reshares, etc., per type of post, and it'll show that, let's say your event posts are really, really popular. Well, now what do you do with that? If your event posts are really popular, then you should make sure that you're putting calls to action or something, in your event post, so that you can capitalize on that. And then I think conversely, right, if it's the other way around, if you think that you're getting, let's say, a lot of engagement on your photos, but that's not translating into any click-throughs or analytics, your analytics side's not turning into anything meaningful, well, then you can toy around with those kinds of things. Is that right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, basically, when you're optimizing a brand page and when you're doing posts, it's always about the intent. And like I remember running a couple different profiles through our tool, and we thought, photo posts, they're definitely going to win, right? That's going to get the best signal to post ratio out of all, right? Because that's what everybody thinks. And we actually found out, at least with the strategy for that client, was that their link posts were actually doing great. They had the best signal to post ratio. When we looked at Steady Demand, we also thought, hey, photo posts are probably going to be the best. No, for us, at first it was link posts. Link posts were doing great. We were passing tons of social signals. We were getting a lot of traffic and also, conversions on our site. Of course, once we did the whole Hangout on Air, events popped up. Now that showed the best signal to post ratio.
Well, so, and you kind of had this guy named Hulk Hogan on. I mean,
Talk about skewing the bell curve a little bit. Just a little bit, yeah. And we're actually going to probably be adding to the tool to remove posts from basically your analytics, so that way when you do have those anomalies, you can kind of pull them out.
Oh, that's
Um,
cool. I know I have a couple of those myself.
yeah. The really neat thing at the tool though is that when somebody loads the profile at first, right, we start tracking connections, at that point. But the post type, all of the engagement data, all of the posts, we're doing those full year back, right in the first swing. So 5 minutes after you've logged in, as soon as you get that email, you can go in and look up to a year's worth of data and see how you've been doing. That
Cool.
works on time of day posts. That works on the engagement side of things. So you can really you can look back in hindsight. They say hindsight is always 20/20, right? Well, we're giving you 20/20 vision basically into your posts. And then, right, based on the intent that you have, you can now go forward and experiment and optimize, and the tool adjusts for all of that.
That's awesome. So in terms of, what we're trying to help other businesses with on this show, by spotlighting how businesses are using Google Plus, it seems like we're talking a lot about intent, and testing and having some method of tracking. Obviously, Steady Demands Pro Tool is a pretty good solution for that. But even then, you mentioned earlier about making sure that you've hooked into your Google Analytics,
Yeah.
use or any other analytics platform. I mean, obviously Google's plays really well, but make sure that I would assume people using things like campaign tags in Google Analytics will get a better understanding, especially as we move into some of this. I mean, it's a little bit more, what would you call it? There's a little bit more sophistication going on now, especially this week where they launched these Plus Post ads, where companies using AdWords could actually have some of their Google Plus posts be featured, out on the internet. Everybody's going to be clamoring about trying to get some posts out there. Well, hey, if you know that you have a certain kind of post that converts, everybody's going to do photo posts because, oh wow, these are exciting and they get a lot of engagement and people like the pictures. But hey, maybe you realize that because you have a better chance of getting a click-throughs for a certain kind of post. Well, throw that one into into advertise that one. Heck, you have an opportunity to do it. So this is cool. We've talked a lot. I'm glad we were able to maybe help people understand that it's not all about the plus ones, comments, and shares. It's about conversion. It's about having intent, understanding what you're trying to accomplish with each type of post, and see where, and then having something to track where you can see if you did the job right, and B, where the pitfalls are, or maybe where you're having great success and might want to push a little harder. So
Yeah,
I was going to say, if you have any great tips or anything like that you want to share, let's do that, because we're coming up close to the show anyway.
Sorry. But yeah, one other thing I was going to say with the signal to post ratio is that, again, based on intent, right? So if you put out a photo post, it gets great engagement. It gets shared all over the place. You're sending great social signals. And you see that in the tool, and it's like, okay, cool, on this day, I have excellent signal to post ratio. Well, as brand managers, we might wait a week and go back and do that same post as a link post. So you do that. Now you can also analyze that post during that day, right? Make sure it was crafted well, but go back and see how the signal to post ratio did on that. And then go back to your analytics and say, okay, well, how did my conversions come out of that? It might make you actually think a little bit differently based on what your intent is. Hey, maybe that link post actually did better. It drove more conversions.
Totally true. Totally true. That's a great point too, because one of the things we can do on Google Plus is repurpose our content in so many different ways, and that's a very practical approach to doing it, because it's something that you can actually measure afterwards. Instead of saying, okay, well, tomorrow I'm going to do a link post and today I'm going to do a photo post. It's giving somebody a little more intent and strategy behind it, something that you could track. So thanks for that. That's a great point. All right, so you got a couple acronyms you were talking about before. Give me your best one, because I think we're all trying real hard to do a lot of good good posts that are going to help us as business people, help especially the pages get better engagement, more click-throughs, follows, all the things that are important that ultimately lead to good search rankings and and just overall success here on Google Plus. And give me one of your we'll close it out with one of your acronyms. Go for it.
Well, I'll give you a couple. How about that?
Sure.
So number one, always be engaging, educating, and enlightening. The 3 E's basically is really what that is. The other one is that of course Google Plus really does act like the karma wheel. If you put good things out, great things are going to come back to you. As a brand manager, we like to think about ourselves as orbs. Of course, Lee Smallwood, he looks at orbs all day long.
All day.
So, so as an orb, what we look at that is that you basically are owning the voice of the brand. You're always representing the brand. You're bringing personality, and you're spreading the message. You've already got sketch on the blog post, so I'm not going to go over that. But when you look at brands that are out there now, like for instance, you've got the Craft Star. We've got a customer of ours called Get VoIP. Certified Hosting actually is a great example too. That's what we do as brand managers. Is we really try to be the orbs for their brand, because we are, at the end of the day, that's what we're doing. Is we're representing their brand. We're optimizing for the business objectives.
Sounds good. And the future of all this is really being able to tell your story, tell it in a great way on Google, using some of the features and tools that Google Plus gives us, and all of these tips and ideas really just help us do all of that better. So, thanks a bunch, Ben. This has been fantastic. Again, I want to give Certified Hosting a big shout out and thank you for sponsoring our show today. As I mentioned, I'm going to throw a coupon code for I believe 35% off on their into the event page. So stick around for a couple minutes, and we will we'll put that in there. Put a link in there for the tool if you want to go check that out, and we'll answer any questions that have come up. So cool. All right. Well, thanks again, Ben. Again, from Ben Fisher from Steady Demand. I really appreciate you coming in today on the Google Plus Business Spotlight. I'm your host, Stepan. Feel free to follow up with us over on the Google Plus for Small Business community. This is sort of a tandem program with that community, so go check it out. And there's also some links in there if you think your business might want to be on the show and get a little bit of a spotlight and tell us how you're using Google Plus. So I guess until then, we will see you guys all next week.
Right on. And Stefan, just one last closing comment. Sure. Just for this show. Just wanted to let everybody know that the Steady Demand Pro tool has a 14-day free trial, so you can go ahead and all of our viewers here can go check it out. If you use the code early when you sign up, actually gives you 50% off for free for life, and it's only good for today.
Oh, that's awesome. All right, so today being December 11th, 2013, for all of you watching this on YouTube afterwards, sorry guys. But all right, great. Well, thanks again,
Ben.
And we'll see everybody next time.